Hey there, YouTubes. This is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2, and we are on version of Enigmatica 1.75. So I came back with loads and loads of end rods from the end, and I was able to craft a bunch of antenna for my heaters and my dehumidifiers, and we are attempting to convert a range of 64. I think that might be 4 chunks in each direction. I don't know. But we're trying to convert that over from Steppe, which rains a lot, to Savanna, which does not rain. And things are cooking. So if we take a look at these guys, they have fuels in them. The dehumidifiers are basically burning up cactus for terraforming juice, whatever that is. And then the heaters are using blaze rods. The blaze rods are a very strong fuel source, so they have a long burn time. So we don't seem to be going through them very quickly. The antenna keeps saying it misses an antenna, but I don't think that's quite right. Anyways, things seem to be working. If we take a look at the Terraformer, it says it's processing these chunk locations, and it's just sort of chugging through them. And the transform time appears to be roughly, 20 seconds. So not too long per thing. However, if it really is doing a 64 radius, I don't know if it's a 64 radius, a 64 diameter. I'm not sure what this range is. I just jacked it all the way up and figured we'd see what it does and how quickly it burns fuel. I have plenty of blaze rods at this rate and plenty of cactus. So basically I'm just trying to keep an eye on them. This one isn't doing something. Why is that? At this point, we're not sure. Most of them appear to be working. I think this thing is a little bit of old tech. It feels a little clunky. We'll see if it actually does the thing. One thing we can do is run up here and see if we can notice the grass changing color anywhere. So I don't know. I haven't seen steppe grass next to savanna grass side by side, so I don't really know how much difference the color is. But we should be able to see something, I would guess. It's probably slightly different, at least. I think the savanna will be a bit greener. Not really seeing anything unless... Is this different over here? This looks slightly different than this. Hard to tell. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Anyway, I'm going to let this run for a while. In other news, after getting a bunch of Air of Ender instead of Dragon's Breath on my first raid of the end, I looked up what's going on there. I think I understand what I need to do. I think I need to stand in it and point through it as opposed to pointing at an actual end block. I think I need to point through the cloud to make sure that I'm not pointing down. So we're going to give that another try. I've made a bunch of bottles. I didn't seem to take hardly any damage there, so I think we're going to be fine to take our time and let the dragon fly around and not worry about it too much. I also looked up how to resummon the dragon. It doesn't appear to be that hard. Take these end crystals and place them around that central portal. So we should be able to give that a try. So I'm going to pause recording here for a bit and let this bad boy run for a while and see if we can actually see some changes to our biome and keep it fueled for a bit. and then we will probably go hit the end again. I did do a bunch of mining there. I'm currently turning some endstone into compressed end gravel to do some sifting of it. We also I picked up a bunch of these biome essence in case I ever want to track down any of these biomes of plenty. Some of these appear sort of rare, like a mushroom island. I don't know where. I haven't seen one of those, so I can make a biome finder for it. So that was that biome essence ore or whatever it was. This stuff, biome essence ore. I also picked up 47 ender amethyst and then silk touch 6 of the things just in case. So got some things done there. I got we've got elytra, or however you pronounce that now. Picked up a couple of those. Picked up a Enderman soul vial and a shulker soul vial. Although after I picked up the shulker soul vial, I realized, I'm going to get that out right now. I realized that I didn't use it very much in my last one because they sort of spawn all over the place. They have a pretty large spawn radius. I think it's more like, instead of 9 by 9 for a normal spawner, they spawn like 13 by 13, and then they can teleport around. So using a powered spawner from Ender IO with the Soul Vial was sort of a mess. So I, got myself some shulker shells and then said, whatever, I don't need this hassle. But now, since I'm using the mob imprisonment tool and more familiar with that, I might try that one because you can set the spawn radius there. So I could set it to spawn in a very small area and make sure that it dies much faster, hopefully. So that might make it easier to farm shulker shells in case I decide to do so. So I'm going to take one of these with me back to the inner city area and pick up imprison a shulker in a mob imprisonment tool. So yeah, I'm going to pause here and we're going to let this thing cook. I'm going to keep it fueled. I'm going to hopefully see some changes here at some point, and then we'll go hit the end again and respawn the Ender Dragon and hopefully get some Dragon's Breath and make an Angel Ring. So I'll be back in a moment. Alright, well, I didn't want to sit around and watch paint dry, so it seemed to be burning fuel pretty slowly, the terraforming. So I teleported back to the end. I used an Osgil Glass brown magic sign to make a teleport point back there before I left. So I teleported back out there and I picked up a shulker and a mob imprisonment tool, raided another city, got some more stuff. And when I came back, if you look at the mini map underneath it, it says that I'm in the steppe. But if I wander over here, now it says I'm in the Savanna. So I'm not really noticing a change so much in grass color, but it looks like it is working. And the grass colors might be pretty similar between steppe and Savanna. Anyway, so things are progressing. I'm going to check real quick and see how much fuel the terraforming used while I was out there. So we're still got plenty there. We're down a little. They don't seem to burn at the same rate, so I hope this one is out of cactus. Now, I don't know if that caused the whole process to stop, or if that slowed it down, or if the others picked up the load, or what the deal is. But anyway, it's back to cooking. Yeah, so it seems to be working. So hopefully we will be rain-free soon. And I'm still not exactly sure what range that will be when it's done doing its 64 range. I don't know if that's radius or diameter or what. If that's 4 chunks in all directions, that's a big chunk. And that will allow me to set up my... wonder if I can tell here. Oh, I can mouse over and see that some stuff is now Savanna, according to the cursor on the map. But it's not a huge radius yet, so we shall see. If nothing else, I can put my telescope in my observatory here. That's all that really needs to see that's all that really gets obscured by the night sky. You can always add collector crystals and other things to strengthen your starlight collection for actual astral sorcery. So if I accomplish nothing else than keeping rain off of the base right around here, someplace where I could set up my my telescope and then my observatory and not have to worry about rain, that right there will be worth it for this experience. And again, it's not like this is a huge deal. This is me just playing around to see what this does. Anyway, so I am going to take a break, let this go a bit further, watch its fuel consumption, and then we're going to head back to the end and reset the Ender Dragon and see if we can get some Dragon Breath this time. So I'll be back in a moment. And back again, a little more research. It looks like a 64 range may end up being an 8x8 chunk for a 64 range. So definitely we're getting outside of the base now. You can see I'm in Savanna all the way out to about here. Definitely noticing a change in the grass color now, where back over here where we're solidly Savanna, it has a more yellowish greenish tint, whereas out here where we're solidly in the steppe area, it's got more of a tannish brownish tint to it. So from over here it's more of a vibrant yellowish, and then over here it's more of a dull tannish color. So the grass is changing, and I think it's an improvement. Looks a little brighter, looks a little fresher, so that's sort of nice. So yeah, this is working. If we take a look at what 8x8 means, if that's roughly like 1, 2, 3, 4 in all directions, that's going to easily cover my base. It doesn't leave a lot of room for a lot of astral sorcery area that is still within the enclosed area, but like I said, that is actually less important with intensifying crystals, whatever those relays are, or lenses you can put around them, and with collector crystals and yada yada. I have no worry about the slightly less starlight that is going to accumulate during cloud cover. So basically this will allow me to turn the top of one of my towers into an observatory, first with a telescope and then with the actual observatory block. And I will be rain free, and I can put it up there and I can scan the sky at my leisure without worrying about it being overcast. And I also don't have to, when I'm running around in my sort of open air courtyard here, I don't have to worry about it pouring rain on me all the time. Supposedly it rains the same amount of time across the entire world, but I would swear that this, maybe I'm just used to building bases underground instead of above ground, so maybe I just don't notice. It has been a while since I've had a major above ground base. So maybe that's why it just seems like it rains all the time. But anyway, I took down my random things rain shield, and I haven't noticed any raining yet, which I shouldn't. I'm actually looking forward to occasionally wandering away from my base and seeing it raining and then being able to step back towards it and see it not. So one of the things I'm doing to kill time was we got the, once we went to Twilight Forest, we were able to get some initial draconium, which allowed us to make an initial draconium ingot, which allowed us to make a deep dark portal. And so I've got that here. and I just went to it for the first time about 10-15 minutes ago, and I put down an Astral Sorcery cave illuminator. So let's go take a look at it. Let's break down there and see what it looks like. Not going to spend a lot of time in the deep dark, but it does have a better draconium ore generation rate than Twilight Forest, which is pretty abysmal. And also the nuclear craft ores spawn here as well, so it can be a helpful place for that. So the cave illuminator has been here for a while, and so now we should be able to break down into, we're like way up at 178, and so at some point if we dig down we will open up into the huge cavern of the dark. So why don't we stand on this cobblestone and vein mine smooth stone and see where it leads. Switch to my silk touch pick so that I have some more stone. And you can see the cave illuminator is now starting to light up this area that I just opened up. Oops. And whenever I zone into a new dimension, my Ring of the Squid stops working, so we'll take care of that real quick. And let's put some cobblestone down here. And let's do that again. Basically, we're just going to do this a few times until we get down to where we break into the actual main area of the deep dark. So let's hit it again. And it does take a while for the cave illuminator to catch up, so we'll have a bit of food. And there it goes. Put down a bit more stuff to stand on so that I don't accidentally drop the floor out from underneath myself. We got to be getting close to the bottom here, bottom of the ceiling, I should say. Or not. Down to 140. Come on, you can do it. The ceiling of the deep dark is thicker than I remember. Gosh darn it. Let's see. Okay. Really? How far down do I gotta go? I'm glad I didn't try and do this carefully. Hey, there we go. We found the bottom. Alright, and you can see the cave illuminator's been doing its job. So we'll squid on down here to the surface. And we have gotten to the deep dark. The cave illuminator is very drastic in this dimension. And very helpful. It's what I did in my last playthrough, which was only, I think, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I came into the deep dark once, and then in my last attempted playthrough of Enigmatica 2 Expert, I came in here and dug around for a bit. I took a digital miner and sort of did a grid work around all of this. I'm trying to avoid the digital miner this time just because I got sick of constantly teleporting to it and moving it around. Still a little too high maintenance. Uh, but what I did then was I took a cave illuminator and basically I just moved it around all the time as well. So I ended up illuminating quite a big area. Um, One of the things that was good is I sort of left it alone. So when I first got into the deep dark the last time, it looked about like this for Viz crystals, in that there were little patches of 3 or 4 here or there. And then I would zone back in a few days later, and those patches would grow to like 5 or 6, and then 10 or 12, and then 13, 15. So that's something to keep in mind if you're like me and you have a tendency to put off the magic portions of this mod pack until later in the mod pack. If you haven't been collecting Viz crystals and then suddenly find yourself needing some, this can be a real good place to get some. But yeah, basically we are just going to, I'm not going to do it on camera because it's a bit boring, but basically I'm just going to dig down. We're at Y65, so I'm going to dig down to the basalt. And let's take a look here. Break out our trusty scanner for draconium ore. So that down there, all of those little dots, that is why we're here. And so we'll come down here and if we need to, we'll get some more draconium ore. I might have a chance to get to planets before I bother needing them. I definitely didn't end up needing a ton of it until very late in the game in my last playthrough. That got sabotaged by instability of the world and me just really wanting to start over now that I knew so much more about this mod pack. But anyway, so there we go. There we're in business. I'll come back and play around here a bit, just do some strip mining and see what I get. But let's head back here and see how this thing's coming along. One nice thing about this Terraformer multi-block structure here is that it appears as if these two corners are where all the fuel use is happening. So I can pretty much just do that heater and this corner dehumidifier, and that's where all of the, out of the 6 of each, my squid ring died again. Out of the 6 of each of these types, you'll see here that it's like not really using up cactus in any of these other guys. It used like one initial one when they turned on. Oops. When you click on the antenna, it says that it's missing an antenna, but that does not seem to be causing an issue. And the antenna does not need an antenna, so. But yeah, you can see all the other cactus are at 63 or 64 because they're not really burning. It's only this one on the corner that's burning them. And same thing with the blaze rods. They should all be at 63 or 64 if I topped them up after they went to 63. And they are. So basically it's only the corner guys that I need to worry about. This one here, which was at 64 when I just filled it up, and it's down to 63 again. And this one here, that was at 64 and is now down to 62 since I filled it up. But that makes taking care of this much easier. I can just keep an eye on these two guys. And if we take a look here, so I did unclaim everything and then unchunk loaded everything and then rechunk loaded. Doesn't seem to really matter. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a problem. But yeah, it looks like our Savanna region is now creeping further and further from the base, which makes sense since I have that centered in the base. So yeah, this is a rousing success. I'm just going to let it keep going until it does its whole thing. And if I really like the results, I might move it. If we assume that it's the 64 range means an 8x8 chunk area, and that means it only goes out, about to here, 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 and here. What I might do is sort of move it out into this area and run it again, and then that will give me a nice big area of Savanna out here to use for my blood temple and my blood magic stuff and my astral sorcery stuff. So I might run this again over here. We'll see. All right, so this thing is slow. So I'm going to go I'm going to check our runtime and take another break. And then I'm going to go try and respawn the Ender Dragon and see if we can get some Dragon's Breath this time. Be right back. All right, I've topped up my fuel on my Terraformers. Things still going swimmingly. Let's go. Let's see if we can go get some Dragon Breath. Bring out my sign for the End Stronghold, teleport in here. Then we will go ahead and turn back on our air charm. Then we'll jump in. Then we're going to take off and re-put on my Ring of the Squid, because it always seems to fail on me when I cross dimensions. Now, from what I understand, you can mine these obsidian pillars, and they get repaired when you reset the end. So I'm just going to not do a bunch of it, but I could use a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a bit of this real quick. And maybe just one or two more here. And that's probably plenty. Top off our food. And let's see, we're going to get these bad boys out. I don't need this during the fight. So let's place these and see what happens. Alright, beam of light up into the sky. And it is now refreshing the those things. And the Ender Dragon should spawn at any moment here. Watch for the purple bar at the top of the screen. And here he is. And there is some purple stuff. So we are currently pointed. I'm going to try and get down a level here or so. Get on this at... okay, I am not targeting anything. There we go. Yeah, whatever. Let's see if we can get some more. Yikes. Something's whacking me. Alright, we got 2, so that's something. Get down to the level here. Oh yeah, now we're getting somewhere. That one did not get it. So I think with block reach on me, I think one of the keys is just getting low. Stop with the yelling. Yeah, yeah. So looks like we've got 18 Dragon Breath. I'm not much of a potion guy, so I don't really plan on worrying too much about things. I'm mostly just interested in the. Did we get them all? Wouldn't mind one more load of Dragon's Breath, though, just for kicks and giggles. See if we can shoot at us one more time. All right, mission accomplished. Can't tell if that's an 18 or a 13, but it's a 13. But we can go make our angel ring now. And we got another dragon heart, which is good. Collect up all this experience. Turn off our air charm. And let's teleport home. And let's see if we can get this sucker made. So we want angel ring. I probably should have made a chicken wing ring. Made a second one, and I kept my squid as a backup, but they aren't too hard to make, so no big deal. So we got to make one of these. Done with our dragon's breath. And then so yeah, that turned out to be the key. I couldn't point down at it and target the endstone under it. I had to make sure that I was targeting through the air, on air, so getting down equal to it so that I could target across it seemed to work fine. And then we're going to have to take our ring off. Goodbye, Ring of the Flying Squid. You served us well. And ta-da! What, no fanfare? No, yay, you got your angel ring? Okay, fine, be that way. All right. Is that using much less? It uses 32. How much does the squid ring use? 16. Seems like I'm using a lot less GP. Oh yeah, creative flight. I can hover. Yay for hovering. Hovering is good. Alright, mission accomplished. Let's take a look at how much juice we've lost. So cactus, top that off. Blaze rods, top that off. Let's run out here. Oh yeah, this is definitely a more vibrant green in our Savanna now. I like it. And it looks like it's spreading nicely away from our doorstep out to the more duller, browner steppe out here. Looks like it's roughly circular. So yeah, going around like this. Yeah, it looks like it's doing sort of a circular pattern. A little further away on this side. Yeah, okay, so we're still in Savanna out here. So it is covering my whole base, and that means I'll be able to put up an observatory up here and not have rain. Yay. If we get up high, we can sort of see the greenness following sort of a curve here. Out through here. Out through here. Out through here. So it does look like it's circular. Cool. So we're just going to let that guy cook, see how far it goes. I wouldn't mind putting my blood magic temple and my big structures for Astral Sorcery out on this side of my base. So I might reset this thing and put recenter it, maybe put it here and run it again when it's done, if it doesn't get out to maybe this far out. Take a look at the chunks. So it might come out to about here, maybe to about here, since it's in the center of one. Let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. If it comes out to the center of this guy, I should be golden to snug my blood magic and astral sorcery stuff up along these two chunks. So I should be good to go. I'll fill in that pond. Probably either tear down or redecorate the little pre-generated cemetery or whatever that is. So yeah, things are going well. And I like the improvement in grass color. It's a little bit more vibrant here than it is over here. Makes the place look a little bit more alive. So that's good. All right, so mission accomplished. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Was so focused on getting that done and getting the terraforming going that I sort of forgot what else I was going to work on. So I'm going to pause here, take a look at the runtime, see how much time we have left in this episode, and figure out what I want to do next. I have no crucial need for mining in the deep dark. I just wanted to open it up and make sure everything was good to go there, and it is. I didn't show it, but I did set up a mana spreader, which is currently out of fuel, and some Indoflames, and a mana pool, which is topped up, and it's got an alchemy catalyst under it. Our light wells, I took the remaining fuel out of this. We've got 864 buckets plus another 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, so 874 buckets of liquid starlight plus this stuff over here. So we've got plenty of liquid starlight once I get moving. So that's good to go. Probably the next thing I'll do, I absolutely know what I need to do next. I have been completely ignoring my environmental tech void miners. And if we take a look at, I moved my pattern terminals and stuff in here, and I'm up to 1,448 of this, what is this, palladium, I believe it is. So it's time for me to work on getting more power. So I'll probably be making a nuclear craft fusion reactor. I've got most of the stuff built for it already. I just need to finish it up and set it up. That should give us several million RF per tick, and that should give us plenty to go from the tier 3 void miner and tier 1 resource miner that I've got going on to, we want to take the void miner up to a tier 5 or 6. We want to take the resource miner up a bit. It's not so crucial, and it has a tendency to blow up your ME system with tons of terracotta, like all different colors of terracotta and red sand and sandstone and a bunch of crap you don't really need. But we'll run it a bit more and maybe upgrade it once or twice. And I want to get started on the, as soon as I get up to tier 4 on the void miner and start getting ionite, I believe it is. Ionite crystal from tier 4, yes. Once I get up to ionite crystal, I can start making some of the modifiers that I want for a personal beacon, like a saturation modifier, which means you are always full saturation, which means you can void mine like crazy and not even eat food, or vein mine like crazy. So as soon as I get the tier 4 void miner and get some ionite crystal, I can upgrade it to a set. I can make a personal nanobot beacon and make it so that I never have to eat again. And then we can also make a night vision modifier, which I really like, and it also takes the tier 4. We could even make flight speed modifiers to make us fly faster now that we can fly. So we don't need the creative flight modifier anymore, but it would free up a ring slot, so that's another thing we could possibly do. So yeah, that's what I'm at. I don't have enough power to really run the heck out of a tier 4 void miner quite yet, so we'll need to get the power better. So basically, and for doing that, I need to open up another floor. So down here, I'm going to need to break out the building gadgets and clean this all up and make a floor for, we're going to make a ring size 12 nuclear craft fusion reactor. And 12 means it's going to be, let's see, 13 is 26. I think it's going to be about a 29 by 29 square. So it's going to be a huge beast. But it should make several million RF per tick. And then we'll have to support it, we'll have to set up a heavy water and deuterium farm. So I'm going to work on that. So those are my next two main projects, is making the deuterium and installing that huge fusion reactor. And then we can upgrade the snot out of our void miners and be in business. So I'm going to pause here, and if we have any more time left on the clock, then I will come back and add some more footage to this tomorrow of me working on that. And if not, then I won't. Be right back. All right, so we quickly ran into a situation. So GP production, my ring stopped working at night. My angel ring stopped working at night when the sun went down and no longer powered my solar panels. So I had a grid power of, I think, around 60 something, just over 60. And I have a lot of that grid power going to my cobblestone farm. And so the 16 coming from the Ring of the Flying Squid was not a problem. So 16 plus, say, 36-ish from my cobblestone production wasn't a problem. But when I went up to the 32 use angel ring, it only worked during the day. So I quickly just sort of, this is what I had going on, was fire mill. I did sort of change up the stone bricks to some red nether bricks, just to make it look a little fancier. Again, just trying to sort of upgrade things as we go. We're down here at basalt under our base, where I've got my tier 3 void miner going, and I've also got a void 1 resource miner going here as well. And the personal beacon is going to go right here. So I had this going, but these, you can see that they're already at a 12% efficiency loss. I got 16 of them, and when they hit about 64 grid power, they start becoming less effective. But 4x4 is a good grid of them. So there's burning netherrack underneath some fire mills here. So I wanted to add some water mills, and I thought I'd do about 16 of them. Ended up doing 17 because I saw this pattern online and thought that it looked cool. And so, but I think they're tuned a bit different in this pack than in some packs, because we're getting a 34% efficiency loss. But that being said, they are generating a considerable amount of power. And so they're generating about 16 each with this setup. So even with a 34% efficiency loss, that takes them down to 10.5 each. And as you can probably see by the mouse over now, we have 234 grid power at night without my solar panels, of which I'm using about, well, you can see I'm using 67 grid power, and that's about 32 from the angel ring and about 35 from my cobblestone generation farm upstairs. So that would be all of this stuff. Well, I gotta get used to having an angel ring again. So that would be all of this stuff. These are using 4.38 each, and I've got 8 of them, so yeah, that's around 35 for cobblestone generation. Alright, so let's take a look at the sort of final results of the terraforming. So I did bring the setup out here to the edges. So the yellow beacons were the original point of our 64 block radius, which was a 4-chunk radius. And it made a square, as we can see from the sort of line here. If you're not colorblind, that is, between the more vibrant green and the more brownish green. But I decided I did want to spread that out a bit more and also sort of break up the lininess of the original square. So I brought it out here and did roughly 20 block radiuses, or I forget how much I used, but basically I just ran it real quick in short areas to do like this area and then this area. And I used the tick acceleration of time in a bottle to help me get more room. So I did spread our boundaries out a bit. You can see here the line extends out to here now, and then I did it again over here, so we've got another line out here, just to sort of make the grass around where my base actually is a bit greener, and to move this transition point a bit further out so it was less obvious. And covered up the rest of, or changed the rest of my mob farm and cattle farm. So I ran it about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 times at a very small radius, and with tick acceleration, and it didn't take too long. And it has rained since then, and there is indeed a rain graphic barrier at these lines, moving between Savanna and Steppe. So getting rid of the rain graphic has definitely worked by moving to Savanna. However, I did notice that when you look up and it's raining, you can't see the stars. And even though it wasn't raining and there was no rain graphic in the Savanna, I still couldn't see the stars. So one of the reasons I did this was to be able to use my telescope and observatory when I build them for Astral Sorcery to find constellations without worrying about rain. However, I'm not 100% sure that will work. So again, mostly this was just an experiment, something fun, something I wanted to try. In the past, I've never really played a sky block, but the one time I tried to do a sky block, I didn't really pay any attention, and my world was, I think I was on a river or something, but then I was surrounded by like ocean and and like cold something or other. Basically, it was a really bad biomes in my sky block. That was one of the reasons I bailed on it. Um, and so from that point on, I've always sort of wondered if there was stuff in the game to change biomes. And I told myself that if I ever found myself with an opportunity and any kind of reason, I would investigate that. So that's sort of the end of the extra utilities Terraformer experiment, and I think it worked out pretty well. Um, I do appreciate the lack of lightning storms and rain in my base, since I have sort of an open air courtyard that I spend quite a bit of time in, or running through at least. And I also appreciate the more vibrant green on the grass for the savanna, compared to the sort of duller, browner steppe grass. Um, so on the whole, it was a win. Will I ever do this again? Probably not. But it was a fun thing to try. So that's the end of that experiment. And so what I'm going to be doing for next episode is our sort of next big things that we're worried about are getting enough power to power the high level environmental tech miners and beacons, personal nanobot beacon and void miner for ore specifically, so we can void mine iridium and draconium and things like that. And then to do that, we need to do a few things. We need to set up some calcium sulfate production to make the fusion core for our nuclear craft fusion reactor. And we need to set up the nuclear craft fusion reactor. And then the other big sort of technology roadblock that we need to get through is I really want to get into Ender IO. And to do that, we need titanium. And to make titanium, we need the advanced metallurgic fabricator. So that is what is in store for us in the next episode. A nuclear craft fusion reactor, and hopefully an advanced metallurgic fabricator for titanium. So I will talk to you next time. Bye.